The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Philip Hronek out for 8 weeks. We all know that. Colton Parayko on Team Canada. Trevor Begg's been wanting this guy for like 3 years. Trevor, did dreams come true?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I used to only think dreams would come true when the Canucks win the Stanley Cup, but that's not true, Kyle. The dream came true because I get to do this show with you. Locked On Canucks, baby.
Whoa.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. I'm Trevor Beggs, co-host of the show and also a Canucks writer with the Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into the show, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks because it is your Canucks every damn day. And we're not here without you. We're also not here without those sponsors. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place just a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We now know Philip Hronek out for 8 weeks, a.k.a. 2 months, a.k.a. I think there's a chance he's not back until after this Four Nations Cup. So maybe it's closer to 3 months, Kyle. But anyways, The Canucks, are they going to make a move on their back end? And if they do, could Colton Parayko be that guy? He's a guy we mentioned in the offseason, but let's talk about him again today because he is, in fact, named onto Team Canada, and the St. Louis Blues are still in a situation.
Whoa, he's not named on Canada yet. He's not named on Canada
yet.
yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry, the leaks. Yeah, as we're recording, it's not official.
I know Daily Hive doing their thing, leaking their, you know what I'm saying, reporting on TSN and whatnot. You know, I know what you guys are doing out there, but you got to wait till 3:30 Pacific, man.
All right, so Colton Parayko may or may not be on Team Canada, but aside from the fact we know that he plays on the St. Louis Blues right now in the NHL, could he play for the Vancouver Canucks? Is he a worthwhile trade target? What does that trade look like? Let's get into that to kick off the show. We'll also dive a bit deeper into the Canucks defense. Again, sans Philip Hronek right now. Is the Canucks defense actually better than we think? Despite some of the more bottom pairing guys after Quinn Hughes, we'll call it that. We'll also touch on the Cam Neely, former Canuck of the week as well. Before we get into all of that, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bowen. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Rest in peace, Johnny Gaudreau, right? One love to the Flames and that family. I know I keep bringing it up in the Columbus Blue Jackets, but again, what I saw yesterday, the highlight package, it got me a little emotional. Okay, it's the holidays. I'm soft right now. I'm 31 and a half years old. Do the math, okay? All in all, one love to that family. And now we're talking about Colton Parayko possibly replacing Philip Hronek, and it's interesting, Trevor. Can we like open up our heart about that, our Canucks hearts at least? Because I feel as if I've moved off of the Hronek injury pretty quickly here, even though it's so big. Like you said, right? It could be an 8-week injury, it could be a 10-week injury. Do the math, it could be an 11-week injury based on when we'd see him next. And I don't know why I'm feeling as if, like, A, we could do this, and B, I don't really care. Like, even though, again, this is going to hurt. This is going to be a big loss.
And it's going to be a big loss for the Canucks. And I don't think Hronek really gets enough love in this market for how good of a defenseman he is because he plays with Quinn Hughes. And, much like a lot of Canuck fans, I kind of want to see Philip Hronek play on his own to see how he'd really do in a sink or swim situation. But the guy's a great defenseman. Rarely ever loses a puck battle. But that being said, again, Kyle, you know it. I know it. The Dogs know it. If the Canucks are going to contend for a Stanley Cup, they need to add another defenseman. And for a while now, I've kind of wondered if Colton Parayko could be that guy. And, one of the first reasons is there are not a lot of top flight right shot defensemen out there on the trade market right now. Colton Parayko, not saying he's necessarily on the trade market, but I think everyone knows the St. Louis Blues cap situation. I mean, look, here's the Athletic did a salary cap ranking in terms of future outlook, and the St. Louis Blues ranked 31st. Only the New York Islanders have a more grim cap situation than the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues are 24th in the NHL right now. They haven't picked higher than 10th in a draft since 2008. They have a middling prospect pool, and they only have $4 million in projected cap space next season, and that's only if the cap goes up to $94 million. We know it's going to go up to 92.5, but could it go higher? There's a good chance of that. So the St. Louis Blues are not in a good situation. Yeah, they got their Stanley Cup in 2019, but they need to clean house unless they want to be a bottom feeder for the next number of years. And Colton Parayko, I think, could be one of those guys. Now, he's on a deal that's paying him $6.5 million a season up until the 2029-2030 campaign. So there's definitely some trepidation with Colton Parayko. He's already 31. But that being said, I'm a fan of this player. If you can get the St. Louis Blues to even retain $1 million, $1.5 million, get that cap it down to about $5 million or $5-ish million. And Colton Parayko, the big thing with him right now, the fantasy stats don't paint a pretty picture of him, but he is playing like a number one defenseman with the St. Louis Blues. In fact, he's averaging the 12th highest ice time in the NHL right now, averaging 24:47 per game. Colton Parayko as a number one defenseman is not a good thing, but Colton Parayko as your number 2 or number 3 guy, I think that's something with some intrigue.
Oh, damn. So Trevor wants them to do a little math, take a little money back. I was expecting you wanting them to take even more money back. Because again, sometimes I hear the name Colton Parayko and Parayko, however you pronounce it. And sometimes I want to stick to my past guns and reminisce about that cup run and how good he was. He was like arguably St. Louis's second best player, third best player. Straight up. He was so good, so dynamic as well, like in his own way. And now when I hear his name, people are confused. People are like, why is this guy possibly making Team Canada? He's diminishing, all that jazz. And here you are saying that he could be the perfect number 3 defenseman, making, $5 million if, again, St. Louis retains. Now, look at this comment from, I think this was Jay Fresh. Now, this chart is from Ringside that we're showing on YouTube, but I saw Jay Fresh tweet this out too, okay? And he's thinking, again, Canada's going to pick Parayko. And he's saying this: instead of choosing a more offensively skilled puck mover, Canada went with a 6'6" shutdown defenseman with elite mobility and a propensity for taking the puck up ice himself. His style has paid major defensive dividends for St. Louis, but has often stunted their offense with him on the ice. You know what that tells me? Because I'm only going to look at the good right now. Kyle Bound, positive. Deepak Chopra, I'm smoking that Deepak Chopra right now, okay? I'm high on life. I don't care if he's not offensively the same way he was 5 years ago, but if he's still really, really good defensively, and if the Canucks only have to pay him for $5 million, and let's say St. Louis doesn't want to make changes, like this is one of those like out of left field moves that I could see Alvin and Rutherford possibly do. Now, what would that cost though? Because this is a little bit different than some of the other defensemen that we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at minimum, it's costing probably a first, maybe like a first, second, and Höglander is a package like that. I mean, and that's, to me, probably in the ballpark, great, because again, he's a 31-year-old player. The St. Louis Blues are in a dire cap situation. It's not like Parayko has the most attractive contract, but in a theoretical situation, if St. Louis retains $1 million, look, they want to clean up their cap situation, right? Again, they got $4 million in projected cap space, and that's if the cap goes up to $94 million, right?
Yeah.
So it is not a good situation for them. Now, I wonder if that would get it done, like a first, second, and Höglander. That's still a pretty big package for a 31-year-old defenseman.
Damn.
So I think it would, something in that ballpark.
Team Canada, though, man. Come on, they got to see something.
Canada,
bro, I feel like Team Canada is preparing for war against America. Whoa, can I say that on YouTube? I don't know, but it's hockey. Okay, we're talking about hockey, and based on some of the projections, like they're wanting more than just skill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel as if it was an easy choice for these guys to pick Parayko over Evan Bouchard. Like, that's basically what I'm trying to get at. To defend against, again, the U.S., who apparently are en route to take hockey over. Now, Trevor, can you do some math for me, though? Look at these fancy stats, okay? JFresh Hockey again, making these player cards. I don't understand it. It's like taking Math 10 again, okay? Before I had Mr. Hom, who helped me out, who helped me pass Math 10. Anyways, look at this. Colton Parayko. I'm seeing numbers. I'm seeing graphs that look like they're going down. Can you just talk about Colton Parayko and his analytics here?
Yeah, so they're saying that he's basically, in terms of offensive creation, one of the worst players in the NHL. So an even strength offense in the 0 percentile. That's not good. But his defense, like you mentioned, Kyle, is good. His primary assists are not good because, again, Colton Parayko, look, he's not a good playmaker. What does he have? A career high of 29 assists, which he's done twice in his career. But for the most part, for a guy who plays as much as he does, to have, maybe 20 assists a season on average, that's not very good. But again, Kyle, like you alluded to, he plays against the top competition on a nightly basis. That is a big factor. And his defensive play in those minutes is pretty freaking strong. So, I mean, I think Colton Parayko, again, he's not a good playmaker. He's going to get some goals maybe from firing pucks from the point. But again, the Canucks need a defensive defenseman. And this guy, again, 6'6", 230 pounds. He can hit. He can still skate. He skates really well for a big man. I mean, aside from the age and the contract, this seems like the perfect player for this system.
Think about this, okay? Think about we get a Carson Soucy like we did yesterday. Pretty much, I would say, someone who was similar to vintage Carson Soucy, if that's a thing, aka the Carson Soucy that we had for the majority of last year when he was in the lineup. Let's say that guy is back. Because again, in Minnesota last night, he was really good, really effective, really nasty as well. What if he and Parayko played together? I don't know. That would be, again, maybe you're getting too much of one style of player together. But at the same time, again, if Soucy's playing that good and Parayko is still defensively really, really good, in fact, Team Canada good, bro, you want to talk about a shutdown pair? That would be something, possibly an option. And that would allow, again, Quinn Hughes to, and I know we talk about Quinn Hughes like he's the best player in the world and he's Mr. Norris, because he is. But that would allow him to have easier matchups and just have the puck more.
Yeah, I mean, and again, my only trepidation there is this whole Tyler Myers thing hasn't worked out, and not to say Parayko is Tyler Myers, but he's not a great puck mover. I just wonder if you're better off spreading out the wealth and having like Soucy, Hronek, and Parayko Hughes or something like that. But I mean, that's still a pretty good top four at the end of the day, right? I think Soucy and Parayko could work too, but I think the last thing I want to say about the potential Parayko trade is, especially if it's going to happen earlier on in the season, the Canucks would be over the cap now. They, even if St. Louis retains, they trade Höglander away, you still a few million over the cap. Like they probably have to put Desharnais in the minors, which is fine, and then they maybe have to trade a guy like Danton Heinen to get into a better cap situation. Which again, a guy's making, it would suck to trade a BC Bud, the pride of Langley, getting traded in his first season with the Canucks. But there's gonna have to be some cap gymnastics done if the Canucks are gonna make this work.
Well, what if the Canucks win like 7 of their next 8 before they make a trade like this, and then they just tell Hronek, like, yo, come back in April. Let's use LTIR. All I'm saying is, man, look at that, man. Kyle Bowne, Trevor Beggs. It is what it is. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I do still think like it's going to be out of left field, right? Like, we don't know who this player is going to be. We haven't really heard about him being on the trading block. It's going to be something creative like this. And I also do believe this as well. Like maybe we'll talk more about this on the other side. I think Alvin believes again, man. You know how Alvin called this team out for being a little humble, and they got a little lucky in Boston a couple minutes after he said that. Then in Pittsburgh, they got their ass kicked, and I was like, yo, what the hell? Like Alvin doesn't trust these guys that much right now in this moment to go out of his way to trade assets to make a trade. Like this team doesn't deserve to be rewarded. And I don't know, something over the last 3 games, and especially their effort last night, is telling me the best is yet to come for a depleted Vancouver Canucks team. And I think Alvin's going to give this team a reward pretty soon here.
There we go. That's and that was your mentality a couple episodes ago. And shout out to the everydayers. They heard you say that. But yeah, I think the argument was that this Canucks team is more likely to make a trade when they're winning, which is a bit counterintuitive, Kyle, but you're a counterintuitive kind of guy. Yeah. Let's talk a bit more about this Canucks defense on the other side. Again, because I think for analytically, at least, they've been better than a lot of people, including myself, want to believe. Let's touch on that on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back after we shout out our friends over at FanDuel. You know the deal, baby. If you're betting on sport, you got to go check out FanDuel, okay? Because they are America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app. They give you everything you need to place live bets on sports all in one place, baby. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, go check out those latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, baby. Go visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll go start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bowne, Trevor Beggs at the Don't Those Art Lab on Spotify Rap Day, man. Did you get your Spotify Wrapped? Like, what's the #1 song of the year for you? Butterfly again?
No,
Come my lady, you're my butterfly.
I'll check it out. I haven't checked it out yet. I've been on Spotify today. Was it really today? Interesting. Anyways,
it's okay, man. You're a hippie, you know. So maybe you had your Wi-Fi off because you don't believe in gamma rays. Anyways, Kyle and Trevor again doing our thing. Kyle and Trevor also talking a little bit about the Four Nations Cup, or not talking about it that much. I know we led the show off with Parayko and the Team Canada thing, and also Trevor just been fascinated with this guy possibly being the Canuck ever since I would say our days of watching him back in 2019. Again, he was just, dude was really, really good, and I think Trevor fell in love. All in all, though, you and I barely have talked about this tournament, and dude, Kevin Lankinen named to Finland, Pettersson obviously named to Sweden. Is there anything there, any substance there? Does this tournament matter, or is it similar to what you said it was a couple days ago? And I'm paraphrasing just a bit, but is this going to be similar to the All-Star game? What is this, right?
Yeah, I think the truth is probably in the middle. I think from a Lankinen and Pettersson perspective, it's we haven't seen, if you want to look at it this way, we haven't seen guys like Pettersson and Hughes playing a best on best tournament. So there's intrigue in that regard. Kevin Lankinen, I'm seeing some NHL reporters suggesting that maybe he's the starter over old friend UC Saros. Wouldn't that be something? I don't think that's the case, but obviously Lankinen has at least made it a conversation. But look, it's a short tournament, right? You play 3 round robin games and it's elimination. It's going to be over before you know it. I think this is more so for the fans. I'm curious to see how seriously the players take it. I think they're all competitive athletes. They're going to take it seriously, but this is not the Olympics at the end of the day. So it's not going to have that same kind of intensity as the Olympics, at least in my opinion.
I'm also very curious about the intensity that may take place, right? Straight up, even those games where it's Miller and Hughes versus Pettersson, that's going to be cool to watch. And I wonder how hard these players are going to go. And honestly, I'm going to be a little anxious too. It being the Four Nations Cup, and again, not having every single country in there, and you can't really say it's best on best if that's the case. So there is a little bit of that edge taken off. And because of that, I'm still just so focused on the Canucks and the Canucks only. And I just don't want anyone to get hurt. And this year's been so traumatizing. Straight up, the last 8 months have been being weird with injuries in the Canucks and players missing. And again, just want a safe, clean tournament. And maybe I just don't want it to be that intense. Hey, speaking of players missing, JT Miller, right? Jim Rutherford having his back to the media today, saying that Miller's not going anywhere. Rutherford has to waste his breath saying the obvious. And that's because a lot of us are bored, insecure, just searching for clicks, man. We live in a weird time, man. And in the moment, again, it's been a short moment. The Canucks have been good for 18 months, yet here we are. And I'll put us all in the boat, even though you and I have been pretty on Team JT the whole time. Team JT with blue and green. But you know what? We're all one, okay? We're all Canucks. We're all locked on Canucks. There we were, against some of us, not shying away from wanting clicks and, bringing up speculation and just leaning into the trade rumor talk. And I'm like, wow, we've been good for 18 months and we're willing to throw one of our own under the bus. I understand, we're journalists, we're podcasters, we're media. We're not on the same team as the players. Bro, relax, okay? Don't be the superstar here. Understand the transaction here. A better hockey team leads to more money in your pocket. It's not rocket science. And right now, the Canucks have been good for 18 months. Maybe it's best to treat the number one center on this team with a little bit more respect. You don't need more transparency when the transparency was there. Personal reasons. It's something else. Who knows what it is? Oh, well, why didn't they just say it was an injury so we wouldn't speculate? Dude, how about you just shut up? And why would the team who loves JT Miller tell the whole world that he's injured right before there's a Four Nations Cup announcement? You know what I'm saying? Team USA. That would have been stupid. There's already been 20 games of JT Miller being hurt, playing hurt. Nothing severe had to happen with an injury claim. And maybe they didn't want to say that because it wasn't that. Who cares? End of the day, just leave JT alone.
Yeah, leave JT alone. It's funny how we're circling back here because for those who've been with us since the very beginning, I think in our first week at Locked On Canucks, Kyle, you had an episode that was titled "Leave JT Alone." You're the biggest JT Miller fan in the city, and the guy deserves the love. And yeah, there's just something toxic with all these trade rumors out there, and it's not all coming from Vancouver media, although some of it is. And then those guys, they need a bit of an ass whooping, but even the national guys too, like Spit and Trickle, it's Andy Strickland, Arthur Staple from The Athletic. It doesn't seem to be off limits in their mind to go talk about where this guy might end up. But I'm glad Rutherford came out today and basically got to rip people for making up rumors, because this is not a situation in my mind where it's, ethically makes sense to comment on a guy's whereabouts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not in this moment, not at this time. And Bro, come on. Like, oh, we need more transparency. Maybe you should go to therapy, okay, and get some more transparency about your life, man. Like, you got it so twisted in this moment, Like, we're so lucky as consumers in this world with things we're entertained with, and as sports fans, like, we get a lot of information. Not only do we watch every game, get to see every shift, get to see every GIF of a potential injury. You know what I'm saying? We get to do all those things, all that jazz, and here we are just wanting more and more and more, even when a player's like, yo, or the team and the player, like, you know what? Let's take some time off. Something personal's going on. It is what it is. Anyways, our defense, right? Kevin wants to touch on this. Not as bad as we think they may be. And this is prior to, even though they allowed 30 shots, one of their better performances of the year against Minnesota. The irony in that is I feel as if Quinn Hughes was on the ice for like 15 of those 31 Minnesota Wild shots.
Yeah.
Real talk. Okay. So,
yeah.
Again, give us the stats, Trevor. Like, were we stressing too much in the first 23, 24 games of the season? Because, again, the D is pretty good, man. The D is pretty good within us. I mean, on us. I mean, the D core is pretty good.
Bro, geez, man. It's been one of those weeks after you just whipped out the brown banana on Monday. But anyways, part of the reason I wanted to bring this up is because, the Canucks right now have the third lowest number of expected goals against in the league. So that kind of takes into account shot attempts, chances, high danger chances, all that stuff. And to me, that's kind of a surprising stat because I think, most casual fans and even myself, you look at this blue line and it's like, okay, you got Quinn Hughes and Hronek who are elite, then everyone else is kind of mediocre. But the interesting thing diving into the numbers is, and here are the numbers for you, in terms of expected goals against per 60, Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek are both in the top 20. Vincent Desharnais and Eric Branstrom are actually in the top 30. And this is among all defensemen in the NHL. Now, those guys get the sheltered third pairing minutes, so it's a bit different for them. But even Tyler Myers, that's surprised me. He's top 50 in the NHL among defensemen. Again, there's about 230 defensemen that qualify for this. So Susie and Jules are middle of the pack. But the thing that stands out to me is that the Canucks defenders like Juleson, like Susie, like Myers, even Desharnais to an extent, who have better expected goals numbers than we think. All of them have a pretty nasty expected goals for percentage because they don't create a lot offensively. They don't move the puck up the ice. Well, the Canucks don't do anything on the ice offensively because those guys struggle to move the puck. And I think that's what it comes down to for me, Kyle. The struggles with this defense isn't necessarily the end zone defending. Like Kevin Lankin has done his job. He's been good, but he's playing in a relatively stable environment. It's the fact that this defense sucks so bad at moving the puck. And from that perspective, it does make you think about a Colton Parayko trade a little bit more. Now, I think Colton Parayko is still a better puck mover than like a Susie or a Myers or a Desharnais for that matter. But it does give you pause. Like, does this team need another puck moving blue liner? Or do they spread out the wealth and kind of have like a Hughes, Hronek, and Branstrom on each pair?
Well, we're about to see a lot of experimenting, and I think we're about to find more answers. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to our decor moving forward, outside of, again, maybe them not being as bad as we think they are, although I believe my eye test, I just think that we've been pinned a lot in our own zone at times, and we haven't even had the hardest of schedules. And Kevin Lankinen is making great save after great save here and there. Maybe not more so than some of the worst teams in hockey when it comes to defense and having their goalies bail them out. But again, Lankinen is doing a lot of that. So we could get a lot better defensively, in my opinion, even though the stats are on our side. But I'm more curious to see how Myers can adapt with playing with Hughes, and if he can water down his game completely to complement Quinn Hughes the whole way through. Because I feel as if there is a chance of those two actually being a thing, which opens up the doors for a lot for the Canucks. Like this whole Susie Hronek thing that, again, we won't be able to see for like 10 weeks, 11 weeks. But again, Trevor, I just think that, ironically, I don't want to say it's a blessing because, again, Hronek's hurt, right? He's getting he had a minor operation with an upper body injury. Like, what's going on? We don't know. We'll never know with the Canucks, okay? Straight up. All in all, though, he gets hurt, and this opportunity for us to see a different version of the Canucks defense, which, again, prior to his injury, we were kind of hoping for anyways, it's happening right before our eyes. And maybe, just maybe, Myers passes the test at being Hughes' partner.
Yeah, I don't know if he really passed the test for me last night, to be honest, but
No, he didn't. But yo, we can't talk ish because he went after. Look what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm loving Tyler Myers because I told the truth yesterday. I'm not talking ish about him because he cross-checked EK behind the back in front of the net. EK 14, whatever that guy's name is. I know his name, but my father raised a better man. I'm not saying that guy's name. He gave it to him. Almost broke his back. And I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I kind of liked it. So shout out Tyler Myers, number 2 defenseman for your Vancouver Canucks.
Oh, Tyler Myers took out Duncan Keith a couple of years ago too. So Tyler Myers, man, he's chaotic and he drives you crazy, but he also kind of creeps back into the fan favorite category from time to time. Let's wrap up the show on the other side. I do want to touch on the Cam Neely, former Canuck of the week here on Locked on Canucks. You can let us know in the comments, okay? For a Colton Parayko trade, are you into it as a Vancouver Canucks fan or not? And the Canucks defense, is it better than you think, or are we crazy? Okay, you're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. We'll be back on the other side after we shout out our friends over at PrizePicks. If you're playing daily fantasy sports, you got to go check out PrizePicks, okay? Because they have got over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. They've done it. They've made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks. Wow, with as little as 4 correct picks, okay? Do you think Vinny D is going to score a goal? Wait, what? How about Elias Pettersson, Jake DeBrusk, Connor Garland? Again, bet on more or less than player stats for those guys. And again, you can win up to 100 times your money. Unbelievable. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So download that PrizePick app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's time to run your game.
People, we back doing this, and that's defending JT Miller as a full-time, forever Vancouver Canuck. Trevor, do you think we're too naive? Like, do you think I'm too naive? Like too ignorant? Like I'm just like believing in everything Alvin and Rutherford are saying? Like I'm too team Canuck right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because again, I just been faithful to everything they've been saying the whole time, even though there is a lot of like again with the Hronek press release, right? It's like you never really get a lot of information with them, but again, I just trust them.
I think with the JT Miller situation, it's like, what more do you need to know? I know we're all morbidly curious, but you hit the nail on the head. I mean, everyone's just chasing clicks out there, and it's.
You know what I'm saying, Trevor? Like, tickle your fascination with your curiosity around the JT thing in the group chats. Like, you don't gotta, you know what? You don't gotta like put that in the universe all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to I don't know. You got to table that talk for, again, the group chat. All in all, though, go Canucks, go. Go Canucks, go. Rick Tocchet. Again, I'm just believing in the leadership group, whether it be Rutherford, Alvin, or Rick Tocchet. I'm just so impressed with what happened in the last 3 games of that road trip when they continued to get even worse news. Again, what happened in Pittsburgh followed with no more Hronek. And I just saw a lot of effort in the last 3 games. Like, I know you don't have the details right in front of you, or you're not in the locker room, but do you think like anything happened after Pittsburgh, or something kind of changed where the Canucks kind of got back to their staples, and if their defense was breaking down, like their effort would make up for it? Because we saw that a lot against Minnesota. It was a complete team effort. Like everyone was bought into doing whatever it took for the Vancouver Canucks and allowing them to, have a better chance at winning. Like it was so nice to see everyone bought in. And I think we've seen that for the better part of the last 3 games.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I would say that the next man up mentality can sometimes have a boosting of morale effect on the entire locker room. Like, okay, now you're missing one of your best defensemen. You're missing JT Miller. You're missing your best goalie. This is really next man up time, especially with Miller and Hronek, who have gone out over the past few weeks here. And look, I thought the Canucks defense, for the most part, played a pretty clean game against a really good Minnesota Wild team over there. So, I was impressed by them overall. And you know what, man? I was so impressed that they don't even need the guy I'm about to shout out here on the Cam Neely, former Canuck of the week.
I don't want to say goodbye.
Man, oh man, I was reminiscing about this guy, not in a good way. earlier this week on the Locked On crossover episode with Locked On Wild, because 2019, the guys, we drafted Vasily Plashlan at 10th overall, and we passed on Matt Boldy, who was on pace for 40 goals and 80 points with the Wild this season. So thank you, Jim Benning. But Vasily Podkolzin is starting to make waves in Edmonton. Finally, he went his first, what was that there? He won his first 20 games without a goal. And then finally he ripped off goals in 3 straight games last week before not scoring against the Vegas Golden Knights last night. But because of 3 goals last week, Vasily Podkolzin gets a shout out here as the Cam Neely.
What are you doing, Trevor? What the hell are you doing here? Everyone, next time you see Trevor down the street, you gotta slap this guy across the face. This guy's giving a shout out to an Oiler. An Edmonton Oiler, man. You're stronger than I am, man. This is the daddy in you, you know? Everyone wins. Everyone eats. Unreal, man. I can't believe the man you've turned into. On that note, though, just another reminder. I just don't want to get people like, I don't like to, not warn people when there's a change about to happen. I can't speak for Trevor, but I'm about to be American in a couple of months. And I'll probably not 100% guarantee, but after the announcement is made that Miller made the team as well and Hughes, like maybe I'll do a live too, just to see how everyone's feeling about the Four Nations Cup in general. Just want to kind of hockey nerd it around the topic. But again, in a couple months, because I'm kind of viewing this tournament like an all-star tournament and like an all-star game, and it's not really quote unquote best on best, like there's a good chance that I cheer for Team USA this time around, because I kind of want Miller and Hughes to bring some of that championship cockiness swagger into the dressing room for the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, as a Canucks fan, I think Team Canada might be the team you're least likely to cheer for, right? That's the only country that's not going to have any Canucks on it in this tournament. So anybody but Canada, maybe that's the mentality. Let's go.
Oh, anyone but Canada. Justin Trudeau is stopping this episode from airing on YouTube, man. There you go. Okay, anyways, hit the like button, subscribe. One love to JT Miller, one love to Trevor Beggs, the second best dad in the world. Join the Discord, link in the bio. I got to get my ish together. More on that on the link. The links in the bio. All in all, though, super impressed with the Canucks and how they finished that road trip off. Applaud the effort, and dude, I feel like I'm back, baby. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm back to feeling like myself, and that's what happens when the Canucks win 4 of 6 on the road.
There we go. I was feeling myself last night, man. Wait, what? Actually feeling myself? Anyways, we got to get out of here. Shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners, the first-time listeners, the new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube, wherever you're listening, whenever you're listening. We appreciate the hell out of you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks. We got you covered here for all the news, the rumors, not the JT Miller BS, though, but some more fun rumors, the analysis, trade ideas, all that good stuff. So make sure if you like what we're doing, you subscribe and like this video on YouTube, and on the podcast side, oh, baby, go follow us and leave a 5-star review. But for now, we got to get out of here. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy is Kyle Bowen, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Peace, peace, peace.